a Jay Jeazy joint.
For the culture, by the culture, to the culture. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 7 of School Slaughter. Yeah, buddy, and I'm your principal host, Jay Jeazy, and I make this podcasting thing, man, look so easy. Hey, yo, special shout out. Thank you for attending today's lesson. Yo, what's going on? Party people in the place to be. J. Cole, he is coming to South Africa. Man, tickets are selling like hot fat cakes on a winter morning. If you haven't copped your tickets, I suggest you cop your tickets now because it's gonna be one of the craziest nights in SA, man. J. Cole finally coming to Africa after how many years, bro? Yo, okay, cool. We're gonna be talking about that. What else is going on, bro? I'm gonna be checking out Stogie T's ANOMY, man. I think ANOMY is such a classic album, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna be checking the track ANOMY. So if you wanna, check out the track with me, I suggest that you better stick around for that, you know what I mean? And also, just looking at last week's episode, we had so much to unpack, as scholars. Just realize like one thing leads to another thing, and another thing leads to another thing, and then you realize there's so many pockets of engagement, that we need to engage on. You know what I mean? I feel like there's so much. I think what stood out for me on the previous episode was the essence and the need for positive hip-hop. I'm talking about this in relation to SONA 2026, right? So I'm just gonna be also looking at the SONA 2026, what the president has said, and what he has previously said on other SONAs, and what has he brought into existence that he has spoken about on the SONA. Is it all promises or did he deliver? So I just thought about it and I'm like, yo, as we are dealing with so much as a country, we need positive hip-hop, So I just know that episode is sparked an idea I want to share with you, so you better stick around for that. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be a jam-packed show, jamming with the jammers, rocking with the rockers. It's Jay Jeazy. It's cool to know out, man. Let's go. Oh, yeah, cool, man. Before we get into like some crazy hip hop, I would like to start here, man. I saw this story. So as per usual, like a South African citizen, I'm just chilling. I'm on TikTok. I bumped into like a couple of videos. So I see a video from this guy. He used to act on The Queen. Used to play Tato. Great here, the great chemistry with legendary SONA Ferguson. R.I.P. to SONA Ferguson. So yeah, I'm on my TikTok, so I see this video, right? And it's just a guy going on about his life. The first time I see the video, I'm like, oh, this looks familiar. This looks like PTA, cool, I passed. I see another video, I'm like, oh, cool, similar video, somebody like waking up, taking a bath, taking a walk, going to get a haircut, feeling fresh, it is what it is. Alright, cool. So now I see a headline like, the Queen actor. Now down and out and whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, why is that, And then I realized that is sparked because of, this is from the video that is played, you know what I mean? I know you guys have seen the video, you know what I mean? Those who haven't seen the video, just, pop it up, just to make this make sense, And I'm like, what do you mean this guy is, down and out, is broken, whatever. And, for as far as I know, the guy has played on The Queen and, a couple of other projects that, you might not be familiar with. But he's a guy, you know what I mean? I just saw a normal guy going on about his life. And what do you mean? Like, it's like, I see one of the comments there, somebody says, should we donate for you? And I'm like, what do you mean, should we donate for you? Because this person obviously lives in a flat. This person can take a bath. This person, that means if there's auditions, he's in Pretoria, he can go to auditions, and that's the most important thing, you know what I mean? And I realized there's the perception that people have on people that appears on TV also can add this wall between the people that appear on TV and the people that sees them, so like they are supposed to, exist in this perception that, maybe they're getting $1 million an episode so that they can buy a Lamborghini and live in Waterfall. Like, That's not real. And shout out to like such actors who are like, yeah, I'm an actor and that's what I do. It's the job. I go there, do the job, and sometimes the contract ends or they cancel the show, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, ETV has canned so many shows. You know what I mean? Scandal has been canned, Smoking Mirrors has been canned, a couple of other shows. I think only Isita is the only show that is remaining. Like, shows has been canned, for various reasons. But the point is that the people that appear on TV, they are normal human beings. Like, I don't know how many vlogs I've seen of somebody waking up, taking a bath in a Vasco, going to their petrol attendant job, and nobody is saying, should we donate for you? On the flip side, it's like, it's inspirational. I like your vlogs, I like your angles, I like which editing software are you using. But then when it's a performer or an artist, they're like, should we donate for you? This TV people this TV people that. And I don't know, man. School's not out because I'm very passionate about all of these things. I've had an episode where I was talking about Save SA films, because of people that are on television, they are not guaranteed work as somebody who's working on corporate or, who's on retail or whatever. They have a sustained salary. And I'm looking at home, I'm like, I see no for people that are like, hi, why are we wearing a Vascom? Come on, people. What do you mean why we accept Vascom? Like this person, you know what I mean? And if you've lived Mopitori, then you would know, like, to 97% of the people that live in the city, dog, they don't use the shower. Every bathroom, like, even when you move in, like, and you don't have a Vascom, like, your landlord will be looking at you funny, like, guess what? Give him 3 months. 3 months will be coming through with the Vascom because for you to access the shower, you will need to have the geyser on. For you to have the geyser on, that means the electricity bill gets crazy. So in order for you to save on the electricity, it makes sense. Get a Vascom, a couple of kettles, put them on, and then you tell her what you must. Why do you think this song, Tomera Kwahe, no, Rochapa go, Kashawara, Rochapa, Rebelezi? Why do you think that catchphrase is so popular? Originally in Pitor, because they know that the shower is a luxury for everyone. There's probably like 7 people who use the shower in, like, Sunnyside. The rest, maybe it's people that are in hotels or they're visiting or whatever. But everybody else is on a Vascom business, You're on the Vascom business. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're fresh, you're clean, like homie's going to get a haircut, so whatever, So that means it matches the frame that he has on his, profile. I don't know, you guys need to calm down, you need to calm down and give these actors some space to breathe. As they're trying to navigate this industry. They're trying to navigate this industry. They would not want to navigate people talking about all sorts of things on the other side. So please, God, save the SA film industry. God, please save the SA artists. God, please save all the artists. Please save all the artists, because the masses, the public is out there to attack our artists. I say, please, bless them. Oh yes. Moving along, man. So I look at SONA, right? And I'm thinking, like, is it really speaking to us, or is just like pure politics? The president will come on television every year and give us a speech, and coincidentally this year it's not just a SONA, but it is a SONA where there's also local elections, so there's also electioneering that also takes place when this type of SONA is being presented, So for so many years, so many things have been promised, and you wait for those things, and some things are still in development, 3, 4, 5 years later, And I'm like, okay, cool, politics aside, just let's look at this thing as like me and you, people who are like affected by the politics of this country, because we are unemployed because of the politics of this country. The poverty line is like this because of, the politics. So you think about it like, okay, cool. We see it on a national level, but then on the ground, like the people who are going through this, like the people who are graduates, and they're sitting with their degrees, like you are a graduate and you are sitting with your degree. And as the years keep going by, and like in the next 5, 6 years, this gap has closed. You know, I'm no longer like youth. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like 35, 6 without any work experience. So what's gonna happen to me? You know? And I thought about it, and I thought about like, cause funny enough, when the SONA was going on, you know, I bumped into a couple of dudes and we have conversation, and I'm like, yo, man, I'm about to check out the SONA, and they're like, okay, cool. Oh, I didn't say SONA, just like, yo, I'm gonna check out the president is speaking, you know, and they're like, okay, cool. What is he talking about? You know, and you realize like these people don't know about SONA, you know, they don't know what's going on, you know, and it made me realize that people on the ground have lost contact with politics, they've lost contact with what's going on, and it easily becomes a matter of these politicians now take advantage of that situation, you know. It shows that the youth is disconnected from, you know, public discourse. And when I realized like as much as we are disconnected from the system, there's a space to exist. There's somewhere in which we can exist and we can claim our voice and we can exist in this space. And I'm not talking about studying a political party, I'm not talking about, you know, studying a movement, but just following the true essence of hip-hop and taking hip-hop as our Bible and moving through the nature of hip-hop and just finding a platform where there was gonna be a high level of intellectualism, you know. So then I realized like, okay, cool. One of the things that makes politics succeed, even though they're not doing shit for the people, is that most of the people don't know the jargon, we don't know the political jargon, you know. So once they start speaking, it's like they're not speaking for us, you know, they're speaking about us, but whatever they are speaking, that's not necessarily involve us, because we are not engaged like that, because we have a high number of illiteracy, bro. Like the literacy rate in South Africa is crazy, you know. Though that is the legacy of apartheid, you know. And all these rich politicians, I mean, they took their kids to like, you know, more greater schools, you know. I remember not so long ago I was checking out Sizwe Mpofu's pod he had on Bongani Bingwa, you know. I think they're from the same school and they were talking about that school. Like, yo, as much as there were so many bad things happening around that time, you know, I couldn't have been the great broadcaster that I am right now if I had not gone to that school. And you realize the importance of education, and you realize most of the South African people, they're not educated, bro. Like, education was not fashionable. It was not made to be desirable for the black person. So as a result of that, most people didn't get the education. And once you don't have the education, you don't know the difference between distance and displacement. So to be able to just get to a specific point, it takes you so long. You know what I mean? But then if you have the education is more like the cheat code, because you know, like, okay, cool, if 1 + 1 is equals to 2, that means 2 + 2 is equals to 4, you know. And you get to use that in the most symbolistic way, in the most metaphoric way, like however you wanna use that, because of you now have the knowledge, you know what I mean. Like, you know, you can read books and you can analyze them, you know, understanding, okay, the importance of, you know, knowing and how to apply that knowledge. So I realized South Africa has a crazy number of people that are illiterate, you know, and you realize like, yo, education is one of the key tools in terms of liberating the people, you know. You say, yeah, economic power and all of these things, but you realize like it starts here, dog. Like, it starts here. If it's here and it makes sense here, then it can make sense anywhere, you know. And these politicians are aware of that, you know. They know like the general public is not educated, so, you know, if we give them fish, they won't know what about the rod, you know. It's like, yo, can I capture my own fish the next time? Now they're like, okay, cool, as long as I got this fish, I'm cool. But then as soon as that fish has run out, you're gonna go back to the same master and beg for more fish. You don't beg for like a fishing rod, you know what I mean? And they are aware of that system, and the few that actually do demand fishing rod, they get taken out of the system. They're like, yo, you're about to mess up a system that has been working for decades, if not centuries. You know, the master always has the machine, and you, as somebody who's on the other side, the only thing that you're only going to get is the finished product, of which it makes you somebody who's gonna be begging forever. Alright, cool, man. Late last year, Story T dropped a smash hit classic album titled ANOMY, bro. And ANOMY, there's a title track. So you know when there's an album, it's titled ANOMY, and then there's a track that is also titled ANOMY, then you know this is not just any track, it is a killer track. I think the track got shadowed by Four Horsemen, you know, for obvious reasons. But then ANOMY is such a beautiful song, and also the album is such a beautiful album. And you know, if you haven't checked out ANOMY, man, you've come to the right place to check out ANOMY with me. The track ANOMY, it features Thandi Swamazwai, King Ta, and the one and only Maglera Doe Boy. And Maglera Doe Boy didn't he snap on this one, ladies and gentlemen? Didn't he snap? Oh my gosh. So we are basically going to check out Maglera Doe Boy's verse on ANOMY, and what a smash verse it is. So we're going to be decoding it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a minute since we last decoded an album or a verse. So yo, let's go. ANOMY. A sense of alienation from society, characterized by feelings of hopelessness, loss of purpose, and isolation. They also say it's a lack or breakdown of social or ethical standards. So welcome to the scholarship, ladies and gentlemen. Target, it's Maglera Doe Boy, verse is ANOMY. Let's go. Let's see if Maglera Doe Boy stuck to a sense of alienation from society, characterized by feelings of hopelessness and loss of purpose and isolation. So Maglera Doe Boy, first line, obviously it's a relay from Stogie T's line as well, because you know Stogie T opens the song with the same bar that also a Maglera Doe Boy, you know, like takes it upon, like, you know. So the opening bar, you know, which is like the most important thing to a verse, like the opening bar, like how you studying the verse determines how the verse is going to be, you know what I mean? So when they start the verse, they say grandma stove. So you know, like if it's grandma stove, then you know, like, okay, cool, we have something to play with here. Obviously, like for it to make sense, you know, we have to look at Maglera Doe Boy's verse in relation to Stogie T's verse, and also it shows like the penmanship of MCs when they can, you know, stick to the theme. I like the fact that the song is this over the head things that are also sticking out within the verse itself. And like for instance, the word ANOMY, it's a Greek word, and then the French took it, right, and then it became ANOMY. This whole French thing sticks out within the verse, and you know, let's check it out, you know. So like Stogie says, like grandma's stove finally broke, the irony shows, the last standing thing in her home, my cousin and smoke. Oof. My whole diet unknown, we eat past the expiry code. Like, whew, that sense of hopelessness, right? Like the whole diet unknown, we eat past the expiry code. Like, it's hard. But you're not here for story. Let's go to Maglera Doe Boy, right? So Maglera Doe Boy sticks to the theme and say, grandma's stove, inner parts from the chicken in bowls. The mad black man, the township was never my home. Right? Because same thing, right? What Stogie's talking about, like, you know, it's like talking about, like it's crazy, like the Stogie bar is crazy. And then Maglera Doe Boy comes in, and it's like your grandma's stove in apart from the chicken in bowls. Like, if you know, dog, like the inner parts, there's nothing more ghetto than the inner parts of a chicken. Like, you know, like if you know, like Malana, the Kilana, the Bete, the Piluana, like all that Chinese, there's nothing more blacker than that. And they say the mad black man, the township was never my home. Come on, Maglera Doe Boy. Like you have had Maglera on so many songs, right? But then when I heard him on this one, I was like, damn, this kid can snap. And I'm glad, and I like the way he handled this whole thing. Like when he got called for the feature, and it's like, yeah, man.
I think let's hear from Maglera how he felt when Stogie T put him in for the feature.
I can't say much, man. When I got that ring, I was like, it's just my turn to do this thing.
I felt like it was my time, it's like, okay, cool, it's my time to just show this niggas how it's done. And didn't he show this motherfuckers how it's done? Yo, grandma stove, apart from the chicken in bowls, the mad black man, the township, never my home. It's standard for most. Me, I'm like Moses, I'm in motion. Like, cause for me, the grandma stove is very central to the song. Like, it represents so much, right? Because if you know, like, from the township, like, it's the grandma stove. Because in my mind, when you say grandma stove, I'm literally thinking that the coal stove, right? Like, there's the chimney there, and then there's, like, smoke coming out. Like, and during winter, everybody gathers around the stove because there will be heat around that stove. Like, so it has got bars like that. I remember, like, he's got, I think it's on a speaker freestyle. And he says, like, Mom died of HIV, grandma, she got nothing to give to the kids. I'm paraphrasing the verse, by the way. And he says she turns the stove on, put the pots, but then, and then the kid sleeps. I'm fucking up the metaphor. Mama died of HIV. Grandmama turned the stove on and she put the pots to boil, and then the kids eventually sleep because there was nothing to give in the first place. That's deep, I think. Whatever. Like, yo, go check out Stogie on speaker and come back and listen to this album, and then you can hear like the way Stogie is able to like build his bars and paint these stories and tell it like Picasso, you know what I mean? So Maglera Doe Boy, like I feel like he went toe to toe with Stogie T on this one, because he went and took the song and spread his own thing, and you can hear it when you listen to the song. It's like, yo, Maglera Doe Boy, like, is going off, like he's got so many pockets, right? Get on my stove, apart from a chicken in bowls. The mad black man, the township was never my home. Like, those bars, they tell you, they show you like what's possible for a black man in a South African township, Grandma stove, eating part of a chicken in a bowl. Like, it talks about the economic system, it talks about the social system, it talks about your background, your surrounding. Like, only that bar alone just explains so much about the who. It explains so much. Just listen to that bar. I like how it comes back. It says, like, it's standard for most. Me, I'm like Moses, I'm in motion. Like, that's alliteration, my dog. It's standard for most. Me, I'm like Moses, I'm in motion. So that's like alliteration. It's just like he's playing with M there, and like, okay, cool. Like, if you know Moses is somebody who liberated his people, he parted the Red Sea and led the people to the promised land. Like, he liberated his people. So like, he's talking about, from moving from the grandmama stove, from eating a part of a chicken from a bowl, to like, now I'm in motion. I'm Moses, right? I got my stick, his stick will become, and that's a microphone, right? Like Paul would say, like, I'm a blind man, I use a microphone as a walking stick, you know what I mean? So Maglera Doe Boy is coming in nicely, and from there, the verse takes a different turn. It becomes very religious. When I was listening to the song, for the first time, and a couple of other times, I just like started to like imagine this, what's that series, man? Into the Badlands type vibes, post-apocalyptic South Africa. It's so futuristic, and also, I think he fed off from, Thandisam as well, because I feel like, this gentleman wouldn't have spared what they spared if Thandisam wouldn't have also carried the song the way she did, like King Ta, when I'm Moses, right? I'm in motion. part the waters with my words. What is a sea to an ocean? Time to atone. I'm like, okay, cool. Time to atone. I looked it up, like, Joe, what is time to atone, right? Let's get into the scholarship. To atone is to make amends or reparations for an offense, error, or sin, to restore a broken relationship. I'm like, okay, cool. Time to atone, Maglera Doe Boy. Let's go in. What is your name? Your people are known. The cock crowed 3 times and you denied all your own. He's sticking to the religious theme, so we know it's Peter denying Jesus 3 times. Caesar in Rome. Caesar in Rome, so we know that Caesar was a dictator, right? He was, stabbed 23 times, by his own people, so that they can, succeed. Power was also, and it talks directly into the next part, like, Cain and Abel, so if you know, like, the whole biblical story of Cain and Abel, one luring his own brother into the field and, wanted to get him killed, you know what I mean? So it's like that jealousy and the whole thing that, it's normal into the rap game where, like, if you're a Maglera, then you get in most of these features, and when you get these features, you snap. Obviously, all your peers will wanna, they'll have that sense of jealousy, and they wanna, snap what you have, and it's like, and it makes sense also to the next bar that he says, right? Behold, man always kill man when there's dominion and gold, right? So if there's money involved, you know how cats behave. Cats aren't afraid to, like, step you in the bag for the bag. You know what I mean? So it's talking about that because of, like, being in the rap game and being number one and keeping up with the sport or whatever you are in life. Whether you in corporate or you're in retail or whatever. There's always gonna be, like, some motherfuckers that are trying to take your place. There's gonna be people that are trying to take your spot. There's people that are gonna want whatever, like whether it's guap, whether it's whatever that you have. There's always going to be people that are going to want that, and they're going to lure you, and they're going to, come up with all sort of theories and stories and whatever to try to get what you have, So it's talking about that, and just like, Cain and Abel, Caesar in Rome, like, Caesar was stabbed 23 times, so I know y'all, you know what I mean? So the game it's very dead. It's a very dirty game. So, that sense of hopelessness, right? That feeling of alienation is coming through with that. It's like, when there's gold and dominion involved, man kill man. That's how we know it. There will be blood. You know what I mean? If there's mineral involved, there's always going to be blood involved. Marikana 101. Let's go, Maglera Doe Boy. Come on now, it's war zone. You might get shot out of that Uber goal, right? So, I think just talking about that goal thing and just giving it in the context of Africa and South Africa, wherever there's, like, most minerals, it's a war zone, right? Wherever. What does Story say? Story has another line. He says, like, for another oil discovered in Africa, it becomes a darker place, like, what's on that one? Like, story also snaps with this type of person. I'm glad, like, Maglera Doe Boys, keeping up with him and not even trying to be him, like, with his own, like, Maglera Doe Boy way, like, just how he switched, like, Cain and Abel, just like not saying Cain and Abel, just saying Cain and Abel, like, it has that sense of, gassiness to it. Come on, Maglera, let's go. I'm in the black win Paris of this cinema novel. Hardest I know is the way, but hard is the road, right? So, like, we in Paris, like, remember that what I told you, like, that's ANOMY, right? Like, there's a Greek way taken by the French, and now, so, like, still taking to the theme, like, we in Paris, right? Because, cinema nouveau is very, it's very Paris, it's very, it's French-like, you know what I mean? It's French-like. Cinema nouveau, it's also a sport that is in Joburg, so with it showing independent films, right? Maglera Doe Boy, the way he's speaking and his art, it deserves to be in those unorthodox spaces. It deserves to be in those spaces where we have, like, hardcore, independent, very artistic, art that we have, very abstract, and like the verse that he's spinning right now, it's very abstract, it's very artistic, and you know, that's hence I'm saying like Maglera was able to keep up with Stogie, and also by not trying to be like Stogie, which is important for somebody who's on a feature. Like, we need to pull up with your own style, but also complement the style of the person who owns the song. And I think Maglera is like one of the most skillful MCs when it comes to morphing into like somebody else's style and also just bringing their own essence. That's very important for an MC. Hardest I know is this the way, but hard is the road. Hardest rapper out the township, Maglera and Pro. Oh!
When I say hardest rap out the township, Maglera and Pro, I'm waiting for whoever wants to fight it, bro. Yeah.
Grandmama Stove, right? So going back to Grandmama Stove. Inner chickens, what? Inner parts from a chicken. So going back to Grandma Stove, because who is the hottest rapper out of the township, Maglera and Pro? Like, if there's one person who was able to like rap the hood and put the hood on his back, you know, put the hood on his shoulders and represent, was Nolinda Kize Kabazel. I think he was able to inspire the whole nation of Kasi rap, you know what I mean? So for Maglera to pull up and say you're the hottest rapper out of the township, Maglera and Pro, like, that's very hardcore, you know, because Pro was able to like talk about the ghetto in ways that, you know, you couldn't even imagine. It's like, okay, cool, you're talking about a regular thing about in the ghetto, but the way you're talking about it, like, yo, like, when I pull up in your crib, you're gonna hide behind the door like a calendar. But then the way Pro speaks it, like, you know, so a calendar, like, you know, on his Zuluness, like, if you know the hood, then you know, like, you know, those houses, they had calendars at the back, right? Then, you know, like, some kanjani fame ngoba ngikhulele tavern phansi kwamatafula ngincengana nama-Amstel. Ngihamba ngamabona njengamaphela asedladleni, like, yo, like, it's crazy, like, you know, like, Pro was crazy, like, with the bars, and he was able to inspire like a whole nation of niggas. So for Maglera Doe Boy to pull out and say like, yo, hottest rapper out of the ghetto, Maglera and Pro. Woo! The hood is synonymous to drugs, right? So he says, hottest rapper out the township, Maglera and Pro. Releasing dope, the dividends determine the dose. So like, he's pulling up with that alliteration again, like this that D alliteration, right? From like, you know, releasing dope, like, you know, if he has another song, like, you know, I don't sell no more, but I gotta get the cat. And it's like, I forgot that song on Maglera talks about. So like, releasing dope, like, what you niggas are talking about, like, you know, only I can have a snow fight, you know. Releasing dope, the dividends determine the dose, like, you know, the profits that we make from all this grab determines how much more you can get, you know what I mean? So it's the money game, like it's like the street language of understanding, like, yo, based on this much you can get this many kilos. So it's the whole trapping game, like, on some other. And if you know Maglera and if you start with Maglera, like, you know, like, he's street like that, right? And then it goes hard, it goes deep. Maglera goes deep. He says, when we ain't had the toothpaste, we brushed our teeth with soap. Oh, whew. Like, that's hard. That's just hard. Like, you know, like, that's just hard. Like, brushing the teeth with, like, Joe, if you know, you know. Like, if you know, you know, right? Like, still sticking to the theme, like, you know, like the township, you know what I mean? But then he's able to switch it so fast. Like, Moet, Easy, Mimosa. And you know, we are on that champagne, right? It's the whole champagne game. Back to where do we get champagne? In Paris, right? So it's back to Paris all over again. So it's like, you know, it's that complex that Stogie also likes to play with, like, you know, the seesaw, like, you know, showing you how there's like this 1% that is living so nice, and then there's like this 99% that is having it the hard way. So like, you know, you're able to, like, yo, when we didn't have toothpaste, we brushed our teeth with a soap. Moet easy mimosa, like, you know, now we're out here, you know, sipping on this shampoo. That's what I'm saying. And then it's this Maglera over Marilyn Monroe. Wow! Oh, come on! that's like, you know, decoding the myth. Like, that's debunking the myth. Like, yo, basically what I'm saying, South all over USA. Like, you know, no DNA, just RSA. Like, there's nothing that we're looking for from these people. As a matter of fact, everything that they're looking for, we have it, right? We have the culture, we have the arts, we have the weather, we have the landscape, we have the tourism, we have the minerals, we have the beautiful women. I mean, we got it all, you know what I mean? So, Madam Maglera, like, if you know Madam Maglera, like, you know, just that the white people, the West, and they own the media for so much, they'll make you believe that Marilyn Monroe is better than Madam Maglera. And, you know, it's another alliteration. Like, I like how you're playing with this alliteration, because Madam Maglera over Marilyn Monroe, that's an alliteration you're in. Like, thank you, Maglera Doe Boy. Thank you for the poetry, sir. I really thank you for the poetry. This is what I'm calling Schools Not Out, because we are here decoding poetry from a poet. Tukello, aye, man. Yes, I agree, man. Maglera over Marilyn Monroe. This treason is old. This geezer sold for visas and robes. Oligarchs and monarchs sold us the 3 meters road. You know, if you know, then you know that it's politicians sold us out, right? So these geezers, obviously, there are these politicians with all, you know, all this corruption and all of this thing, and the way he's just telling it so nice, like these geezers sold us for visas and robes. Because you know, if you are like in overseas or whatever, you know, you are on that robe, you know, you are in that hotel, and, you know, basically you're just eating the state's money, right? Oligarchs, you know, oligarchs are like people. Most of the oligarchs that we have, like, they got rich off the struggle, you know, they got rich also through democracy, right? Monarchs also, you know, come on, man, say they sold us a dream. Like, now we have that sense of hopelessness again, you know, like, feeling that enemy, you know, it's feeling that enemy. And then it says, remove the book of Jubilees, Ethiopians we rose. Like, you know, it's also the destruction of, you know, black civilization, the destruction, like, because of they sold us a dream, they removed the book of Jubilees. Like, you know, that means they came through with their own vibes and started telling us their own stories, and now we had to believe them. That's what I'm saying. So, and it goes on, from the soil and build this sand castle. Misamo was the tabernacle. I was like, okay, hold up, what is that? A tabernacle. Hebrew, right? It was the portable tent-like sanctuary constructed by Moses in the wilderness as a 15th century BC center of worship for the Israelites. It served as the symbolic holy dwelling place of God's presence amongst his people during their journey to Canaan before the construction of Solomon's temple. Come on! Maglera Doe Boy still sticking to the religious theme. He said he's Moses in motion. So now he's got the tabernacle. Mesamo was the tabernacle. So, like, you know, like, if you know the African context, or where we place our ancestors, like, you know, though we call it Mesamo, you know, someone call it an ancestral podium, but then, you know, we always had like sense of religion before they removed the book of Jubilees. You know, we had our own way of worshiping, you know, we had our own way of connecting with God, you know what I mean? But then they removed the book of Jubilees, and, you know, they basically sold us a dream, you know what I mean? And then we forgot how to, you know, worship, you know. But then he says this flows from an artisan mode. I'm like, okay, cool, artisan mode. Let's go back to the scholarship again. So I looked at artisan, and then I realized, okay, cool, it's a play of words, like artisan and mode, the flow of water, right? And the way in which the water flows. And a moat is a deep or wide dish surrounding a castle, right? A fort or a town, typically filled with water and intended as a defense against attack. So, like, it makes so much sense, like looking at the whole bar and then decoding the whole bar for what it is, the way he was able to spit it, right? From the soil and build the sand castle. Misamo was the tabernacle. This flow from an artisan mode. Basically, he's got his tabernacle, and the best way protected is through these bars, right? It's through this hip hop. and it's through this gospel that he was able to speak out, ladies and gentlemen. Maglera Doe Boy snapped on this one. Maglera Doe Boy pulled up, he came to work. You know, he ate and left no crumbs. Obviously, I think the flow needs a doctor because of it's sick. The content is, it's top tier. It's, there's like a whole lot of things that I had to research, in order for me to decode this verse and understand it better. And thank God I was able to do that because, that's what scholarship is all about, So he kept up with the theme, kept it the 100. And, I think like it was two legends and they were able to maneuver the song with ease. Delivery, come on. When we didn't have the toothpaste, we brushed our teeth with the soap. The delivery snapped, his emotion, he was raw. He was able to keep up with this, raw energy. It's a different pocket, from what he usually speaks. And I like that he can able to tap into different energies and spaces and forms of MC like that with such ease. It shows diversity from this MC. I like the alliteration from the song. This flows from an artisan mode. Madam Makeba over Marilyn Monroe. All this alliteration that it was. The dividends determine the dose. It was just so amazing to see. You know what I mean? Now the bars, the image, you can easily go bar for bar on this verse. Just understand it and enjoy it. It was, oh my God, I feel like the verse will age well. There's just so many quotables. I think the song is very artistic. The visuals for the video will be so sick. I think Maglera went against his peers, went head to head with your KOs, he's a sniper of the features. I think he went head to head with Cass as well. He still manages to come back with the body bag every time. That's crazy. This is some of his best work. I think for me, some of the best verses from Maglera Doe Boy has to be like in Njaka, has to be Let Me Cook, Deep Waters, Never Ride, and ANOMY. It makes it top 5 verses from me from Maglera Doe Boy. Come on, man. The boy snap. Let's give it up for Maglera Doe Boy. One time. Boy, we came through and he gave us, and it was a scholarship, it was a lecture, it was an honor to decode this verse and just go bar for bar and learn what it means. I think the verse is just gonna age so well. Just gonna be one of those verses that we're gonna play on the wall, like a crack. Come on, man. Shout out to Maglera Doe Boy, shout out to Jeazy, shout out to hip hop, shout out to Stogie, shout out to ANOMY. I think we'll decode more songs from ANOMY because I feel like, ANOMY is such a beautiful album. Go stream it if you haven't streamed it. It's been out for a couple of months now. It took Stogie 5 years to do it. I think it has to take us 5 more years for us to appreciate and enjoy it. And I feel like, the verse will age well. Alright, cool, let's move! Hey yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The one and only J. Cole is coming to South Africa. After more than a decade, finally, J. Cole is coming through to the shores, man. It's gonna be an amazing night. It's crazy. Tickets are selling out fat cakes on a winter morning. If you haven't copped your tickets yet, better hurry up or else, you're gonna be dreaming about this in your villa, and you're gonna be Dreamville. Cause it's gonna be real. Yeah, and it just goes to show South Africa, it's a crazy country in the continent, alright? Out of the whole 54, nations, he chose to come through to South Africa because he knows South Africa, it's where it's at, no DNA, just RSA, cover what I'm saying. So J. Cole, the fall off, J. Cole, last touchdown, it is South Africa, man, the fall off, J. Cole, come on, what you know, don't save her, she don't want to be safe, don't save her, she don't want to be safe, don't save her, she don't want to be safe. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, It's been an amazing episode, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to my 50 subscribers, man. I think we just a couple of zeros from my show speed. I mean, it's just a couple of zeros. That's what I'm saying. We're taking it like, one step at a time. There's no need to rush. You rush, you crash. Let's just make sure that we have it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it was a pleasure to package this episode for you. If you haven't checked out Maglera Doe Boy's verse on ANOMY, go check that out. Go and cop out J. Cole's tickets because they're selling out. That's what I'm saying. Let's keep up with the positive hip-hop. It's love, peace, happiness, and safely having fun. Yo, my name is Jay Jeazy, and I make this podcasting thing look so easy. Till the next time, God bless. You know how we do it, man. It's hip-hop. If it's not, it's gonna flop. So let's make sure that we hip-hop to the movement. Intellectualism, it's where it's at. Yo, jamming with the jammers, rocking with the rockers. Till the next time, Jay Jeazy. We go.
It's a Jay Jeazy joint.
God sent me to do this shit. It's Jay Jeazy on the pod. It's Jay Jeazy on the pod. It's Jay Jeazy on the pod. Giving you the latest drops, current affairs, latest trends. Go tell your friends. Jeezy is behind the mic. Tell this other cats to take a hike. On Spoon YouTube, you choose. If not, you lose.